All right, what do we have here? We have the 5th anniversary 9-hole cup. Man, 5 years. So 2017, the game came out, and there's been quite a few changes. Only took them 5 years before they broke it, but it's been 5 years. So congratulations to Golf Clash for being so successful for 5 years. So let's see how we can do in the 5th anniversary cup. So this course is going to be. This 9-hole cup is going to be broke up between Juniper Point, Southern Pines, and White Cliffs. So it's scattered all over the place. So hole number 1 is going to be Juniper Point. That's the wrong one. It's going to be Juniper Point, hole number 8. Da-da-da-da. All right, we definitely, absolutely, positively, mandatorily have to get an eagle here. Now, first, let's talk about what we're not going to do. I'm not going to talk about anything over here. You can lay it up out into this area. And I will tell you that the farther forward you get if you're trying to come out here, the better. And let me tell you why. And the more you can make it around the bend. So like if you can get down into this pocket, you're even better. There's several... Hold on 1 second. Itsy bitsy. All right, sorry about that. My little puppy. So if you get around, so let's draw some lines here. Here's the flagpole, and I'm going to draw a line to the sand traps. So like if you're out in this area right here, you've got a straight in shot to the cup. The closer you can get to this line, you may be able to start it off over here on the fairway side and use side spin to bring it back around to the cup. There is a rough bump that you can do here, and it is super dangerous. This is one of those holes where you make your adjustment and then you almost pull a whole other ring. This shot coming in on this side is very tricky, and with varying wind it's even more tricky, because in headwind you're going to have to do more. It's very difficult unless you can hit it up into this front pocket where you can really take the drive at it. It's not that you can't make it from back over here, but on this particular hole we can all recover. We can all recover from the sand or the rough over here, and it's a pretty easy shot. And I'm going to go for the green in 1 as opposed to trying to leave myself long short iron range with a very difficult shot coming into the hole. So I'm only going to be looking at the left-hand side. And what we're looking for here, if you have an extra mile 9, 8-6, you got lots of top spin, you're good to go. If you've got an extra mile 8, you're still pretty good to go. You probably won't have to do any overpower in a headwind. You may have to, like if you were in the level 6, level 7 extra mile, you may have to bring out a power 4 ball if we're going against headwind. Let me zoom in a little. So what we're looking for here is, I like to start myself off dead center in the middle of this fairway. I want to give myself as much room for maneuver as I possibly can. And you will typically, no matter how you hit, whether you hit it perfect, great to the left, to the right, good, whatever, you're almost guaranteed to hit the first fairway. It's the second bounce, because we're doing a bounce, steady bounce, steady bounce. We're trying to bounce here. We're trying to bounce here. We're trying to bounce over and clip the rough and then bleed out onto the green. And obviously I like my third bounce to come in right here, because I've got a little bit wider area of rough to deal with. And it's important that you clip the rough. If you miss the rough and you're on the upper trajectory, you will end up coming off the back. If you end up coming on this trajectory and you miss the rough and you hit the fairway, you'll probably still be all right. You'll probably be just a short chip off the back of the green. But we want to get that bounce, steady bounce, steady bounce. Ideally, we do not want to do this with any overpower. So if we draw our red line here, because we're at our red line, if we've got any wind that's on this side of the red line, any positive wind, we can work that out, leave the wind out, and we can make this shot. But if we've got any forward moving wind, any headwind, and we're on the other side of the line where now we have to do some overpower in this spot, we may want to up this to a power 4 or maybe even a power 5 ball in order to take this shot without doing overpower. And I'm pretty sure that we're just riding the red line with a power 3 ball. So we're not going to be able to work out anything at all against the red line unless we up the ball. Now, I'm pretty sure if it was like a 45-degree headwind on either side or anywhere within that range, we can probably bring out a power 4 ball and still have some room for maneuver. If we've got a due headwind, we may have to up this to a power 5. Now, I've spent a lot of time talking about this shot to get this over here. And why? Because we have got to get an eagle on this. There's going to be way too many people in the bracket that are willing to pull out a power 5 ball, even if they've got a tailwind and they don't need a power 5 ball, just so that they don't have to do any overpower and all they got to do is hit perfect and they're on the green. You can make a hole-in-one here. That's how close you can get when you're on the green. We've got to get the eagle on this. We have to. Just no doubt about it. So let's go out and play it. Let's go play it. And I'm going to take a Titan. The king of balls. And I'm going to use an extra mile 9. Now, just recently, in the last month, I finally got my APOC to level 6. But in this particular circumstance, the extra distance might come in handy, but the ball guide on the extra mile, I think, is more important. So we'll see. Practice now. Hole number 1. Let's play it. Let's go out and see if we can get on in 1. Now, hopefully, and you know damn good and well they're going to give us, because it's practice, they're going to give us headwind. And I'm not really feeling like I need to pull out a power 4 ball in practice. Seems like a waste of a ball. But you know damn good and well they're going to give us headwind. There's just no two ways around it. I go first. Oh, wow. Look at that. Wow. Amazing. Bag number 1. I guess I'm taking it with my APOC. I accidentally switched up my extra mile, and that's no bueno. I think that's 6 topspin. I'm going to pull back just a little. It's 3-4, and I'm going to add on 10%, so I'm going to do 3-7. Matter of fact, I'm going to do 2 rings. That's a 20% pull. Let's see if we're short. I'm going to put just a little teeny bit of curl on it. Hitting it perfect. And we'll see if I over pulled it or under. And that was just about right. It felt like that wind was going to take it for a ride. Just nice bounce, steady bounce, steady bounce. So that's what I'm saying. If you've got an extra mile and it doesn't have 6 topspin, one of those, because we're not having to use any curl here, and we really don't need a ton of side spin. 2 will work. If you've got a club that's got the topspin boost, this might be a hole to really pull it out. Bounce, steady bounce, steady bounce. Now they got a 2.8. 10% would be 2.8 or 0.28. So that'd be 5.6. Be 3.3. Let's see if they pulled it enough. Okay, there's their red line. And they moved it about a ring and a half, so that's about 3. And if you hit it great to the left or the right, it doesn't affect you really on this island. Where it kills you is on that island. And I missed it. All right. Missing a putt. What's the deal? I had it won. I could have won a chest right there. I let it slip through my fingers. That's all right. I wasn't focused on that shot. I was focused on getting over there. That's how you almost get an eagle on this hole. See if my opponent can get in from the sand. The cool thing about being over here is even if you're in the sand, if you run a Spitfire, you can run all your topspin out. That's one of the cool things about a Spitfire is it has tons of topspin. And it plays exactly around the green like your rapier. So in this situation, you could run the topspin out and you'd be all good to go. Eagle. And I let my opponent win the chest. Look at that. All right, that was hole number 1. What's hole number 2? What is hole number 2? Hole number 2 is a par 3. Now, this par 3, this is Juniper Point, hole number 2, and I'm not even sure if this is the right picture. This might be the right picture. This hole's been redesigned at least twice. The green used to be massive, and you think that this hillside, for those of you that have played it, is steep now. It used to be really steep. And there's, so what happened was when the game first came out, talk about, this hole's been in the game since the beginning. It was very hole-in-oneable, like very hole-in-oneable. Like you hit perfect. It was very hole-in-oneable. And then they redesigned it. And so we had to find a different spot. And then they redesigned it. And now we have to find a different spot. So in this particular configuration, I've tried several different things here. There is a no move shot where when it shows up and you get on the hole and you land on the hole, wherever your ball's at, you make adjustments from there, and it's a very little adjustment. It's just like a little bit of backspin, a little bit of side spin, like very little. I believe we're doing a 10% wind adjustment on this hole and taking the shot and trying to drop it down into it. It was probably about a year and a half ago, we had this hole in a tournament, and I worked at the very beginning of the week for a shot. This is all downhill towards the cup. And then there's a little spot right here where the flagpole's out, where the hill comes down, and then it's pretty much flat out here. And what I was trying to do was set up 2 rings off of the sand with my Grizzly, where my ball guide's going off in this direction, and use right-hand side spin to straighten my ball guide back up and go straight to the cup and not engage the hill at all, and ride right at the bottom of that trough up to the cup. And we were killing it that week. And then what happened in the tournament, the wind was blowing from this direction, and when we had to engage the sand in order to pull out the wind, it got severely distorted. And that shot, and it makes that jump going in the sand. So this shot will only work if the wind is blowing like this, so that you don't have to pull over the sand. You can pull out into the clear. It works great. But if there's any wind that's blowing from the sand coming towards that shot where you have to pull over that sand, that shot sucks. So I went to a shot that moved myself just a little bit farther out, where I'm 3 or 4 rings off of this, and I now have room to maneuver. It's almost in the same spot as the no move shot. And I really haven't picked a pony like how I want to really play this hole. It seems like because they've changed this hole so many times over the years, I've kind of lost my way, and I get on this hole and I'm just like, I'll just play it whatever looks good, I'll just play it that way. And I don't have a set way to play it, but I really should. I'm going to work on the no move shot. I'm going to work on that shot and just see what it's like there. And we'll see what the deal is. I'm going to bring, I don't think I need anything more than a nav. If I need more than a navigator, I'll up it to a quasar. And I'm going to switch this bag. Make sure I got my extra mile in there. I don't know how that got switched. Epoch, rock. All right, I got all the stuff I'm looking for. Here we go. Let's practice. There are several holes in the game that they've changed that, like, some holes they make really minor changes. They may take out a tree. or they'll make some changes, or they'll add some trees. I've seen them do that where holes will come out and we figure out a max overpower hook shot, and the next time we go out there to play, there's a row of trees out there. And that shot doesn't work anymore. They have redesigned, like one of the courses, like my favorite, which is Juniper Point. They redesigned some of the holes that are in there. I don't really like the redesigned way. I think the old course forces you to play better. All right, let's see where I'm at. There's max club, so I'm eking toward, oh shit, I shouldn't have moved it. Now it's too late. There's max. There's min. So I'm at mid club. Mid club. If I add on 10%, that's going to be 3-3. There's 3-3. Let's see how far off that is. That was about 1.3 per ring. Hitting it perfect. It feels like I underpulled it. Because I did normally on these types of shots, I'll work my numbers at 1 per ring. And I played these so many times in one-on-one that I don't usually mess around with that. You're just trying to get super close. And if I leave it where it was set up, where it was the no move, that looks like it's going to be towards minimum club. And I actually need to find my cheat sheet. As soon as this hole's over, I'm going to pause, because I have a cheat sheet here that's got numbers for every one of my clubs, and I have no idea where it's at. It's somewhere on my desk, buried under a bunch of shit. All right, here it is. I found it. So at mid club with my grizzly, it should have been 1-1 instead of 1-3. If I pulled out my trusty dusty calculator so I could actually have some exact math here, that was 2.7 times 1.1. .8 times 1.1 is 3.08 divided by, yeah, it would have just been a 1 for 1, so it would have been 2.8. And I moved it 2.4, so that was the difference right there. I made the bad adjustment. So mid club is probably right, but mid club should have been 1.1 and I played it at 1.3. My bad. Look at that. Freaking rookie move. Hole number 3. All right, what is this hole? Hole number 3 is Southern Pines. Hole number 5. Now this is a redesigned hole, and I've played the redesign less. I've only played, I think, one tournament with the redesigned hole. I played the old one so many times, I know what the deal is on it, but it is not like that anymore, so I'm just going to go out there and play it. We'll just go play. I'll bring a Titan. Once I get out there, I'll just pop out a Titan. I'll play with my number 1 bag and a Titan. It seemed like on one of these Southern Pine holes, and I need to find out what tournament they introduced the redesigned Southern Pine holes, and go back and watch that, because it seemed like there was one of these holes I was doing a max overpower hook shot and putting myself in a pretty good spot. See if we can find an opponent. If this hole, there's two of these, there's several holes in Southern Pines that have been slightly redesigned, and originally they were super dangerous, and this is one of those holes. This green was, this is a totally different hole. This is the max overpower hook hole. And my problem with the max overpower hook here is that we don't want to go too far. Otherwise, we'll end up in the rough over here. There's a spot. See the gap between these two shadows? We want to end up in the clear in between those two shadows, or on the very edge of this one. And I mean the very edge. But we want to be right in that area right there, so I can't put on all the topspin. And I believe I was actually taking this with a katana. I may have to take this several times just to see what the deal is on it. And if you're going to hit it straight forward, you can. And you want to get in the distance. My opponent, they put themselves in a pretty good spot there. They should have a pretty straight up shot at it. I think we do use a katana on this. And it's not all of the top, so I'm going to put on 5. Right dead center in the middle of that tree, that red tree right there. 3, 6. It's 2 rings. Let's see if we can get around the bend. And clipping the rough right there is not a bad deal. It gives you a great shot. It's just a little bit further away. But that's not a bad area to be in. The second shot's still going to be a long shot though. There's a rough bump that you can do if you're in the right spot with your sniper. You can get so close to this rough if you bring out a bigger ball that you're actually in your long iron range, and you can't do the rough bump. You need to have lots of topspin in order to do the rough bump. Excellent. Get him up there for minimum score. Okay, there's max, and there's min. I'm in about mid, so I'm about 1.1 per ring. And I'm just going to do a straight up 3.6. I was going to add on 10%, but I'm at mid club, which is 1.1, so those balance each other out. There's 3.6. Getting it perfect. Pretty close. I slightly over pulled it, so maybe even a 5. I'm doing mid club plus 5%. Let's make a note here. I used a katana, and that put me at mid club plus 5%. In the hole. Eagle. If you got lower developed clubs, or you're having a hard time, or you don't like doing max overpower hooks, what my opponent did right there is definitely the way to come at this. Use your big dog. Typically, if you got lower developed clubs and you're going that way, your big dog is going to be your better option. It'll be a better option than the Cataclysm. All right, that was hole number 3. Hole number 4. What are we doing? Hole number 4. What is hole number 4? It's White Cliffs. Hole number 6. White Cliffs. Hole number 6. All right, this is Big Tapa Kingmaker, minus 10 to the cup. And the goal is to set our drive up right there and take this shot up. So on this hole, I'm gonna go from here max topspin, max curl, trying to bring my ball so that I get one bounce here, clear it, second bounce, run up to the front with a big topper and a kingmaker. Max topspin, max curl. So what I'll do is set this shot up out here so that I'm 3 or 4 rings off of this transitional surface so that I give myself enough room for my curl to become effective and get me over to the other side. You can hit it out in here, and you can get to about right here coming straight forward. So here we're in short iron, here we're in long iron. If you're over on this side, if you are over here and you get up on the green and you don't make it up to the top where the cup's at, it'll stop and then start to roll back down the green. If that happens to you, you will end up in the sand. And because it'll just roll right down there. I mean, there ain't no stopping it. Once it starts doing any kind of roll going backwards, or if you're up here and you tried to backspin it and you caught that hill and it starts rolling down that hill, you're sunk. So it's difficult sometimes when you're coming from this angle because you want to put on, it's so tight to get to the cup that it's very easy to leave yourself short and then end up rolling back down the hill. So if you end up over here and you're not liking that shot, play it safe and just get up on the flat. Make sure that when you're taking the shot to the cup, you're trying to use just a little bit of topspin to roll it to the cup. So if you miss, it stays up on top. This can be a very dangerous hole, but we can give ourselves a great look at it. Great look. And I'm going to take a Titan, the king of balls, and I'm going to take a big topper. Now let's switch some of this up. Grizzly, Kingfish, Spitfire, and the only thing there, Cataclysm. I like it. What's funny is when the game came out. So the game came out, what, January 2017? I think it was February. Like the game, but like when it hit the Play Store and really started going, it was like February, mid-March, mid-February, somewhere in that neighborhood when it really started going. And I started playing in May. I downloaded the game around the 20th of May. There was like 9 golf games at the time, and most of them were like trying to simulate the deal. They were super complex. They were less of a game and more of a simulation. And we went on vacation, and I tried all of them while I was on vacation, and Golf Clash won. 1 out. Max top spin. All the side spin I can muster. Okay, what we're looking for is that second bounce. We want to make sure that our second bounce is far enough to get us over there into that fairway. I'm going to be 3 solid rings off. 4-5. Cool thing about this club is it's the same exact accuracy as my extra mile, 2 per ring. And I'm going to slightly over pull it, so I'm going to do a 5 mile an hour pull. Max curl. Hit it 1 ring great to the left. And what you don't want to do is overhit it and hit it into the rough on the other side, but I left a little teeny bit, like I should be right out here in front. That great to the left moved me off from the cup, but that's the area that we're really looking at. I'm going to play this wherever my club's at. And I should be in my Kingfisher, and I'm playing it at 1.1, 1.6, 2.2. Minus champ. So let me get my trusty dusty calculator out here. 0.9 times whatever the wind is. 0.9 times the wind. Okay, where am I at? Okay, there's min. So I'm in minimum Kingfisher. So it's 3.3 equals divided by 2.2. It's 1.35 rings. 1.35. Okay, there's 1, 2.5, 3.5. Hitting it perfect. In the hole. Men club, minus 10%. Now, this is a prime example of what I was talking about with my opponent. Now, they're trying to do a backspin shot here. If they miss that shot and it does not go in the hole, watch what happens. Now, they didn't, I don't know that they pulled it enough, so they may actually overshoot this. Well, they're undershooting it. I'm going to bet that this is going to go right into the sand. No, they were able to get it up on the top. They got lucky. In my opinion, they got lucky right there, because you do not want to see that it rolls over the horizon there and it disappears. You do not want to be involved with that. Ever. All right, hole number 5. Let's make sure I have an empty slot. I think I won 1. I gave 1 away. No, we don't win anything in practice. That's the deal. What kind of crap is that? Hole number 5. What is hole number 5? Hole number 5 is Juniper Point, hole number 3. Juniper Point, hole number 3. Now they've redesigned this part of this hole from this picture, and it is a little bit different here. There's not quite as many trees here, but there is, it's different on how they've redesigned this area. But the whole goal is to get up here in the front. I believe we can get into our short iron range if we can get all the way into the front, and I'm going to do a plus 10% on this hole as well. And I'm going to do it from wherever I'm at in my club. Now, to get over there is a trick. With most clubs, especially if you've got lower developed clubs, getting past this peninsula without ending up in the sand of the rough is the trick. And I will tell you, that trick starts off with a 3-side spin ball and max curl. So if you've got lower developed stuff and it doesn't have lots of curl, then the side spin's all that's going to help you. You've got to have a 3-side spin ball, otherwise you're going to end up in this. There is a max overpower hook shot that you can do here, but my goal is to get up into this area with a Kingmaker and my APOC or my extra mile. The extra mile I could probably net more yardage because it has less curl to get me around these trees, so I take a bigger risk of getting caught up in this. That's the risk. But with my Apocalypse, I don't know that I can net as much yard. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see when I get out there. But I think with my Apocalypse, I could probably use a Titan. And with my extra mile, I'll have to use a Kingmaker if I want to get all the way up to the top. So let's think about yardage here. Extra mile versus an APOC. So I get 3 extra yards off the top, but I get 9 extra top spin. So I should net a little bit more with my extra mile than I will with my APOC. And I'm going to be super brave and bring out a Titan and an extra mile, and we'll see if we can get it done. Kingmaker works better only for the second shot. And it works better on the first shot because it's got more curl. So I mean, or side spin. So I mean, it will help you all the way around. There's no downside of bringing out a Kingmaker, unless you're trying to use the wind and you're bringing out a Kingmaker, and it'll cut the wind down a little. There is a path where you can now kind of almost hit through the trees. I wouldn't recommend it. It seems like you're still going to get caught up in it, but there is a path. Before, if you hit into the trees, you were guaranteed to get stopped. You were going to end up in the sand. But I have gotten lucky and hit it through these trees a few times. They've thinned it out a little. I think the greenskeepers just got tired of taking care of it. Lazy bastards. . Maybe 2 rings off of that. And I'm going to leave the wind in. I'm going to pull over just a little because it's going to push me forward about that much. Isn't it perfect? I don't think there's near enough curl to get me around that bend. I'm going to end up getting caught in that peninsula. And clipping it slowed me down. I could have probably covered at least another third of that distance. And I think that, you know, you look at the distance there and it doesn't look like a lot from where I'm at, but if I could have cut the distance from where I'm at by half to the front, I think it would put me in my short iron, and where I'm at right now, I think I'm close to in between clubs, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. I know that this is one of the most makeable albies in the game. Like this is an albie. This was in a community cup here a few years ago, and if you know that any hole that was in a community cup is a hole that's like super makeable, and this hole was super makeable. You're going to see a lot of people this week ending up in that spot. And those trees are in your way, so work around them. I am in my short iron range. Fantastico. It's 1.1 per ring plus 10%. So it's 3.8 times 1.1 equals. We're in max club divided by 1.1. 3.8 rings. I'm going to put just a sliver of backspin on. It's 3.8 rings. There's 3, 5, 6, 7, 5, 3, 8. Hitting it perfect. In the hole. Close. Close. Slightly overpulled it. Anytime I have to pull past that half ring that's there, and I get in between the half ring and the bullseye, the actual center of the bullseye, it's always suspect whether or not I made the right pull, because it's hard to see in there. I need to actually take out like half a ring and then work out the 3/8 in the front half of that in the first half ring. Now, what I don't like about that shot is how close they are to the tree. So if they hit it great to the left, they could screw themselves. You don't want to press your luck too much on stuff like that, because you're already in trouble. All right, in the hole. So we have quite a few holes here that we can pick up some stuff on. Great albie looks. Great eagle looks. Hole number 1 is definitely one we got to make. And this hole right here, we definitely want to give it the old college try. And that right there was an example of where the APOC would have been much more superior, even though it had less distance, just because of the and a 3-side spin ball. So a Kingmaker would have helped me out there. I would have got the best of both worlds. I would have got the extra side spin to clear me of that, and the extra distance with the extra mile. Hole number 6. And hole number 6, what do we got here? Southern Pines. Hole number 9. All right, I cannot remember what the adjustment is here, but they have redesigned this hole as well. And there is a rough bump here now. It used to be, okay, like this side over here, this is all, no, I will never, you can take a shot from over here. And the benefit of taking the shot from over here is that this is all hill. But there is a flat area down here at the bottom. And when you come in from this side, you're coming flat right towards the cup. But you'll get a much better experience doing the rough bump than you will with taking this shot, because this shot you're putting the water in play, the sand in play, the rough in play. This shot right here is it can work, but it can fail really easy. The island. The only time I ever use the island is when I get on this hole and I don't have to move off the island. So if the wind's low enough that I can move and I can stay on the island, and I was doing a 10% adjustment on the island. You can do the island, and the island was really the best way in the past to go for hole-in-one, because you could enter just like you can with the rough bump, where you're engaging the hill right here and just trying to bring it right back down to the cup. I'm going to try and do the rough bump where I'm just going to go straight to the cup and I'm not going to involve the hill at all. You can come over here on this side, and in a one-on-one play, this is a pretty go-to spot where your ball guide's going off in this direction and you're going to curl it to engage the hill to try and ride it down. Now what you need to, if you want to get to the cup, is you need to come way in the back so that it rolls around, and it's almost impossible to do that. You'll end up flying off the back, or you'll end up in short and it'll come down. More than likely you'll go back down towards the hole, but if you hit a hole-in-one from this side over here, it was blind luck. And that's for anybody in the game, no matter how good they are. That's just the deal. I'm going to do the rough bump, which is not shown on that, because it's a new way for us to play this hole. And I can't remember what ball, but I am going to do a 10%. 1.1 times whatever the wind is, divided by wherever the hell I'm at in my club. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be a sniper. So I may have to bring out a big ball in order to get I can't remember. I played this hole so many times in pro, from the pro tees, that I can't remember. See if I can get an opponent. Berlin, thanks for joining the channel. Thank you, man. Les Tardes. The Les Tardes clan. All right, I go first. 10%. 3.5 equals. Where am I at in my club? There's max. There's min. There's mid. There's max. I'm pretty close to max. So I'm going to do a 3.85 rings. $3.85. Okay, there's 3.5. There's 8.5. I had to snap it off. I was running out of time. One ring great to the right. Maybe 7 rings great to the right. Maybe 70. 800. $9,000. Let's see if my opponent can get in from there. They're doing some overpower, which I'm not sure. Oh, they're using a white ball. And I was using the wrong ball there. I'm pretty sure. I used whatever ball that was in the thing. I was just dicking around. What was I thinking? Ricky. That's what I was thinking. I did use the wrong ball. And I did a max number, and I wasn't quite at max. I'm gonna put a note here. I'm gonna drop that down to a katana, because I think a katana will pull my forward red line back, where I can still work out headwind, but it'll put me more towards a true max club. I'm gonna put katana, and I might move that down to a quasar. Maybe. I'll have to go back and watch that, because if it was 2 rings off, I may want to look at my adjustment. But I would really like to hit that in there perfect once. What are we on? On hole number 7. Let's go look at this hole. Let's go look at hole number 7. Hole number 7 is Southern Pines. Hole number 7. All right, this is the hole that they redesigned that I was thinking earlier on the video, and I'm not sure what it looks like. So we're just going to go play it. I could tell you how to play that hole, that configuration, but I think that they've completely refigured this. And I think you can still get up into the finger that's over here, but more than likely I was doing a max overpower hook shot last time, and I think I was getting over the river in front over here. But I can't remember where I was setting the shot up at. .420 friendly. Here we go. All right. So I can hit it up into that area. And with this headwind going on, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. And that's going to have to be max OP too. Hit it 2 rings great to the left. Clip the rough and in the sand. Boom! And the greenskeepers are all like, hey man, make sure you get rid of all your divots out there in the sand and all those marks. I might have a shot through the trees. I'm going to have to go back and see what my max overpower hook shot was on this to get over to the other side. I know you can just hit it straight forward and you have a straight in shot to the cup, but I think we can get closer. And I know that you can get, like if you bring out a bigger power ball like my opponent with this headwind and get over to the other side, you can get way up there in the front. You got a really good luck. They should have a pretty good look from there. I don't think I can get through these trees. Not a chance in hell. Just try and put myself up there in front. Give myself a good look at it coming in. I think there was an issue coming in at it from this side over here. You might be able to do a rough bump on that. If you were in, if you had a lower power ball, you might be able to do a rough bump there with your sniper. I think you could run your topspin out. This hole here is going to be a hole I'll have to work on this week because I've got so little time and grade on it. I'll have to do some research and go back and watch the when they changed these and see what we were doing when they first changed them. All right, where am I at in my Kingfisher? Here's max. I'm at minimum club, so it's 2.2 per ring. Okay, so it's 2.2. There's 2.2. That leaves me 4. I'm going to say that's about a fifth. I'm going to add on a little. And I hit it 1 ring great to the right. And it won't go in. And if it does, I'm lucky. I think ending it up out there where my opponent was at might be the way to go. I may play this hole again. I really am reluctant to bring out a power 5 ball on here if I can help it. But I believe that this was a hole I was using a big topper and taking a max overpower hook shot on. Let's play that one more time. Let's play it one more time. Let's play it one more time. Can I play it one more time? 7, 8, yeah, I can play it one more time. Okay, we're going to play it one more time. Here we go. Here we go. Practicing hole number 7. Let's see if we can get this down. And not go against a headwind. If we have no headwind, I'll go straight forward just to see what that looks like. But I really think I should be practicing the max overpower hook to see if I can get where I was out on the second shot. I think you can get similar range. La Viva en Rose. La Vie en Rose? La Vie en Rose? I go first. Of course. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? Yeah, maybe there wasn't. Maybe that was just the deal. It does seem like there was a max overpower hook shot out here, but even with a 3 power ball, I don't see it happening. So going straight forward, 4 5s, 3 rings. I'm only going to move 2.5. Hit it. Once again, 1, 2 rings great to the left. Getting out into the clear. 416. No, my opponent's going for it with a white ball. I don't know. Can you make it over there with a white ball? I don't think you can make it with a white ball. Maybe. Maybe. I think there's just, well, there was just enough room with a power 5 ball. It seemed like I was just clearing my red line. I don't think you can make it. Let's root for them. I don't think they're going to make it. Wow. Look at that. They just barely made it. Okay, I'm in my grizzly. And I am at minimum grizzly. Enough topspin? Not even close. Minimum grizzly is 1.4 per ring. .4. 3.4 times 1.1 equals divided by 1.4. 2.67 rings. There's 2.5, 2.7. Hitting it perfect. Didn't pull it enough. And I was definitely at minimum club. I did a 1.4 and I added on 10%. So I either need to up that number or I need to go to a max number and work it from there, one of the two. Sometimes I find it's easier to start at 1 per 1 when you're having, like if you're in a spot like that and you're having difficulties, just do a 1 for 1 and then move it. If you overpull it, drop it to 0.95. If you underpull it, raise it up to 1.05 or 1.1. and then work it. There's a lot of the par 3s in the game I can think of where we do a max number instead of a min number, even though we're in min club. See if they can hit it perfect and miss on the left-hand side of the cup. In the hole. Stay safe. Birdie. All right. Hold on one second. Hold on. All right. Had to get a cup of coffee. Come on. Come on. Hole number. What are we on? Hole number 8. What is hole number 8? Hole number 8 is White Cliffs. Hole number 4. Not hole number 5. Hole number 4. All right. To be honest with you, I can't remember how to play this hole at all. I can't remember if we're bouncing off the island or going over to the other side. I know that in my mind, I would want to go over to the other side to take all of this shit out of play. But I can't remember on this hole, and we have no rough bump opportunity here. I don't even remember this hole. How strange is that? The deal is I look at the picture and I don't remember it, and I'll get out there and I'm like, oh yeah, this is that crappy asshole. It's not sparking any serious memory, so it must not be like a hole I've had tons of success on. I think I played yesterday. Me and my buddy Kevin played in the weekend round of the Escape to the Sun, and I think I hit 3 shots into the cup perfect, and I missed 2 of them. And that means 15 shots I didn't hit perfect into the cup, and my results showed it. Not good, but I've been on a pretty good perfect streak today. I've hit quite a few perfect. What's the deal? What's the deal? So I suppose you could bounce over from there, but man. And this might be, if we've got lots of backspin like this, it might be better to do this with a Guardian. I want to be on the flat. And we are way in the hell downhill. I'm going to do 3.9. That's a 30% wind adjustment. Hitting it perfect. With all that backspin and all that headwind on there, I don't like that shot at all. I'm gonna have to do some research on this to find out, because like that, I'm sure that you can bounce it over and run it over there to it, and you've probably got a much better shot than trying to do the backspin. Backspin. The thing about backspin is that backspin, when you make a shot and you've used a lot of backspin, especially when you've had one of those Guardian shots where it sucks back and it makes it burns such an image in your brain that you're like, hell yeah, that shot is awesome. And yeah, it looks awesome, but the deal is they're low percentage. So when you're taking shots like that and you have to put that much backspin on them, they're usually, when you get on one of these holes and you only put just a little teeny bit of spin and it's all about hitting perfect. So I think the only way that we're going to achieve that is by bouncing off the island, and that really looks like that might be one of those things where, yes, because of the way that the sand is, your bounces, if you hit it perfect, you may have a serious shot of getting in, but if you don't hit it perfect, you might be in big, big trouble. I'm not sure how I'm going to play that hole. That might be one of those par 3s that I work on, and I'm always working on, and I just never quite figure out. Maybe. Some of the holes that when they first came out that I had the hardest time with, I stopped and I went, screw what everybody else is doing. I want to figure out this shot for myself, and figure it out. And actually, there's some of those holes I can think of that I like playing now, and a lot of people don't like playing them. And this might be one of those holes. Maybe. Hole number 9. All right, let's talk about hole number 9. Okay, up to this point, and hole number 9 is White Cliffs, hole number 5. Up to this point, it's been a pretty straightforward tournament. So if you watch my stuff on a regular basis, I have always been big on let's see how we can get, if you're brand new to the game, or if you've been playing for a while but your tournament results are like mid-pack, and how do we move up the bracket? How do we go when we have a 100-person bracket and we have somebody's in first, second, and third, and they're winning banners, and then there's all of the have-nots that are below that from 4th to 100, and ending up, especially if you're ending up down here like mid-pack on a regular basis, or you're in the bottom half regularly, like how do you move up? The first thing for me that changed the game for me, and it took me a long time to figure this out, was really focusing on like what is the minimum score. So like this tournament, in every tournament, in every course in Golf Clash, the minimum score always starts at -12. You need to get eagles on the par 5s and birdies on everything else. And if you do that, -12. Okay, there's very few par 5s in the game that are birdie holes with an eagle opportunity, as opposed to our normal par 5, which is an eagle hole with an LB opportunity. This particular par 5 is a birdie hole with an eagle opportunity. And that's not to say that somebody's not going to get an Albie this week. There's going to be people that get Albie on this hole, but it is going to be an exception. There's going to be more people that get birdie by far, or excuse me, that get par. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of people in the par group compared to the Albie group. I mean, like, that's not even a comparison. So we're really looking for birdie with an eagle opportunity, and I don't like to look at any of the par 5s in Golf Clash as birdie opportunities. I want to get an eagle on every par 5. Now, maybe I have very little chance of getting an Albie. Fine, but I'm still going to get the eagle. That's the goal. So how do we do that? Okay, the first thing, let's see if I can pan back. I can't pan back anymore. So on our drive, so here's the tee box. So the flagpole's over here. We're driving out into this fairway. Okay? And obviously our shot's starting up here, and so up to this point, we're pretty good as far as whatever accuracy club that we're working. But once we start traveling through this gap, if you end up in any trouble or you end up in the rough down here, you've just taken yourself out of the shot. I mean, it's not that you can't, okay, you're one shot to here and then on the green in 3, putting for birdie, right? So you can still get the birdie. It's not, we're trying to get out eagle. Is that right? 1 shot, 2, 3, takes 4 shots on a par 5. Yep, still get a birdie, right? What we want to do is we want to end up down in this area. Now, you can, in my opinion, you can overshoot this, and if you get down to, so if we draw a line here and we do our arc, you do have a shorter shot from out here, but I'm not you can overhit it where it makes it harder, because where you're engaging it here is in this finger, and so you're more off on this angle, and so there's a certain breaking point. If you're too far back here, you've taken yourself out of the shot. And I'm going to use a big topper on this because I do want to roll down there. You can use an extra mile if you've got an extra mile, especially if you've got an extra mile 9 where you've got lots of topspin, or an 8, 7, somewhere in there. Anything's going to get you down into that area, but you want to hit something that gets you as far down there as possible. The problem is that we really want to bring a bigger ball than a power 3. Like, I mean, if you come here without a power 3 ball, then you're playing it like it's a birdie hole with an eagle opportunity. Okay, you're playing it so that you can lay it up out into this area or try and get up here and have this shot for eagle. I want to be on and 2. I want to be putting for eagle. I don't want to be messing around because there's going to be too many people that are going to get birdie on this. So ideally, especially if we're getting a wind that's blowing anywhere on this side of this line, because we don't really want to think about what the wind's doing on our drive. We want to really think about what the wind's doing on this second shot. And where we want to be at is we want our red line to be as far forward as we can, and we're going to be going off in this direction, so we're going to have to apply a little bit of curl or use our side spin if we have a big side spin ball, but we're probably going to need our top spin, so we may not be able to engage all the side spin. Big dog, cataclysm, whatever is the longest hitting wood in your bag with the most top spin. And in that case, if you've got a big dog and a cataclysm and they're fairly close, you know which one's got a better ball guide, which one's more accurate. I think when the cat gets to level 5, it's pretty close. I mean, it's you could choose between it and the big dog. I think that's where mine's at, is at level 5. So if you bring out a bigger ball here, you're bringing out the bigger ball for the second shot, because you can end up down in the perfect spot down here with just about any ball. If you're using a lower power ball, you may have to put in a little overpower to get the distance, but you can end up in the right spot here with anything. The first shot here is, and it's definitely one shot at a time. If you don't put yourself in the right spot here, you're screwed. But if you put yourself in the right spot, this second shot you need is a big, it is every bit of your big dog or cataclysm to get you up here. And because of where you're pinched in here, it's hard to put on a bunch of curl to like get it towards the cup. This is a very difficult second shot. So if you're going to bring out a bigger ball, especially if we've got a headwind, you're really bringing it out for the second shot. So what happens there is you brought out the bigger ball for the second shot, but it's super easy to overdrive the first shot because you brought out the bigger ball. So pay attention when you're out on this hole of where you end up on your drive, and look at the angle that you're approaching the cup. And if you're doing too much of this where you're having to put on too much curl, you're overhitting it. Pull it back just a little bit on the shot and shorten it up maybe 5-10 yards and see what that angle looks like, and find the angle that works right for you. And I'm going to have to do the same thing right here. I want to really pay attention to where I'm at down here in yardage, and so I can judge it, because my plan here is to use a bigger than a power 3 ball. I mean, when we talk about you trying to get from number 100 to number 1, it's picking up, it's focusing on the shots that are low-hanging fruit. But this is one of those holes that we can pick a shot up just because we brought the right stuff. We weren't trying to get crazy. We weren't trying to do overpower. We just came out here. We brought the right equipment so that we could put ourselves in the right spot, and we got on and we made a putt for eagle and we moved on. And just getting that putt for eagle on this hole right here is going to put you ahead of 50% of the people in your bracket, because 50% of the people that are in this bracket are going to get birdie or less. And the numbers actually, really, in my opinion, it's going to be higher than 50%, but you can automatically get ahead of 50% of your competition just by getting an eagle, which we should always be getting on par 5s. So this hole right here is definitely an awesome hole number 9 in a tournament, because this will ruin some people's tournaments where they had it in the bag. And I've had this happen because there's several other really hard par 5s in this game, and was in the lead going into the last hole, and all I had to do was go out there and get an eagle and I would have won, and I got a birdie and ended up losing the tournament. I think I ended up getting a birdie and ended up, because of that one stroke, I ended up coming in 4th. I had everybody beat, but I didn't have good tiebreakers, and ended up coming in 4th because of that. So this hole right here is going to ruin a lot of people's tournaments. So let's go out there and play it. Let's go play it. I'm going to bring on the drive. I'm first going to go out there and let's see what happens if we can try and get all of it. Let's see what happens. Let's see if I'm right. And if you hit it too far forward, it might actually make your shot worse. where you have to bring it more to the left because of where your red lines are at. And it would have been better to be a little bit short of that so you had a straighter shot. Let's see which one. I'm going to bring my big topper and my Cataclysm. And I don't play that often with my Cataclysm. And the way that it worked for me was the very last epic that I opened was an Apocalypse. And it was like 2.5 years into the game. Started playing May 2017. And in the summer, 2 years later. So 18 to 19. So it was like in the summer of 2019. And then in the winter of 2019, they did the club card trading. And up to that point, like I was so far behind, like it was so far behind the rest of my clubs that I was never going to be able to play with my Apocalypse. The club that I got before my Apocalypse, the second to the last epic was my Cataclysm. And the third to the last epic was the Thor's Hammer. And I opened up all three of them within a month of each other and finally got all of my epics 2.5 years into the game. And the only thing that's helped me out is the club card trading. If it hadn't been for the club card trading, I would still have like a level 3 and everything. So I was really happy. I recommend it against the club card trading, but I will take it. So this club hits at 1.8 per ring. Need to make a note here. 1.8. 1.8 for the cat. And it'll definitely be at max club. There ain't going to be no freaking doubt about it. All right, let's see if we can go get... Let's see if I can just go get the eagle on hole number 9 right off the bat. I haven't played this hole in a long time, but I'm remembering the second shot. And it's... I don't have any fond memories of it. I've made a lot of eagles on this hole, but this is a tough hole to get an eagle. Let's see how my opponent does. We've got a slight bit of headwind. It's a perfect L. Perfecto. My opponent is way down there. They're at 367. Let's pay attention to the distances. Okay, there's 4 topspin, there's 5. And I am at the red line. I think that's too much topspin. 2.6. Hits the same as my extra mile. I'm going to do a 3 mile an hour pull, which is 1.5 rings. Hitting it perfect. And the only question here is distance. And I think against that headwind, I might be okay right here, but like if I had tailwind, because you don't know how it's going to roll out. And I left a little on the table to my opponent. So I'm at 361. They were at 367. I think that the 5 yards that I'm at is going to give me a better angle. Because see, we're going to be going straight through. That might be all right. And if they had a power 5 ball down in that distance right there, they might actually have a pretty decent shot with that sniper. I'm almost regretting that I didn't bring a sniper now. Did they shorten this hole up? That seems like, you know, maybe it's just because we're where we're at. They have a pretty good shot at picking up the eagle there. There's 4 topspin. I'm going to do 4.5. I want to be over just a little bit. I'm going to be 1.5 rings off that transitional surface. It's 1.8. I'm going to do a 2 ring so I can put a little bit of curl on it. Hitting it perfect. I moved it over to the right to give me more room for my curl to develop. And I could have put that topspin, or that headwind killed it just a little. Probably killed like one of the topspin, but I probably could have put another 1.5. I think I put what, 4.5, 5.5. Probably could have went to either 5.5 or 6.5, at least. You can fly off the back of this. There is a hump there. It does seem like that they've changed it down here, or shortened it up. I could have swore this green was humped on the other side. You ready to roll? All right, let's see if we can get eagle here. I missed one of these shots yesterday. I made a bad wind adjustment from this distance, and oh man, it was a heartbreaker. I could definitely get closer than that. In the hole! The wind did not play a factor at all on that. That's right where I was aiming. I probably could have hit it great to the right and it went in. All right, that is one way to get an eagle on there, and that's 2 of us. My opponent got up there closer to the cup. Let's go back and look at that hole, because, man, that felt different. It felt different, but it felt the same. I mean, I was using my opponent, where my opponent was at, that extra 5 yards that they had forward, even with a power 3 ball. They came in at it from down in this area, coming through, trying to get to the cup. Their red line was down in here, so that their first bounce was here and their second bounce was around the bend. And there was a ridge right there, and like if they'd moved back a little bit, it would have changed, like the second bounce would have been on the hillside, so it would have changed the trajectory of the ball. They needed to be slightly in front of it. In their shot, it looked like the power 5 ball with the sniper. They could have moved out a little bit into the fairway to get their second bounce in the clear, especially if you had a power 5 ball that had a side spin boost on it. In this particular area, that might help you to get it more around there so you don't have to use any curl. It looked like they had a shot. They were very close to being able to set that sniper up so that they would have had, you know, it still might be a super low percentage shot at Albie, but like they could literally follow their tail. I may... Let's okay. All right. You talked me into it. Let's go out there let's go out there. All right, I'll do it since you guys are all bitching at me. It's the ladies out there that are bitching at me that are like, hey, come on, dude. Step up to the plate. Let me take the power 5 ball again. And let me switch this out for a sniper. And see if I can get that little bit of distance that my opponent got on me on the drive. And this might be an area if you've got an upper developed hammerhead, because in a hammerhead, the hammerhead is a club that I haven't worked on. If I would have worked on the hammerhead every single time I've gotten it, I'd probably have it almost to level 7 now. But I really haven't worked on my hammerhead, because when it gets maxed out, other than the rod distance, I'm pretty happy with my sniper. Although I'm looking at that backspin right now and thinking that there are times it would take the place of both the Guardian. You wouldn't have to pull out your Guardian anymore. You basically have a Guardian sniper combo. And it's got more topspin. So Maybe I'll start working on it at some point. Maybe. But that would work. That hammerhead would work really well. All right, let's go. Let's go play it one more time. Let me make sure I did set that bag up right. Okay, I did. All right, we'll go play hole number 9 one more time. One more time. I'm gonna let's see because if we can, anytime they tell you that there's a birdie par 5 out there with an eagle opportunity, you've got to figure out the best way to get eagle so that it's just an eagle hole. Screw that birdie hole with an eagle opportunity. No, that's just an eagle hole. Some of those par 5s we have Albie opportunities, but if we can make ourselves and put ourselves in the right spot to generate a look at Albie. I can think of another par 5 in the game that I do a max overpower hook shot on the drive. I've done a max overpower hook shot for years, but an APOC 4, you can get over and you actually have a legitimate Albie shot on that hole where most people are looking at it as a birdie hole with an eagle opportunity. Oh, and I played the wrong fucking hole. Oh, that's all right. I missed the putt on the front. I made the bounce over perfect. And we're getting a little bit of headwind here, so this will work out good because we can see what a 3 power ball does. If you've got any tailwind, you can take this with a Titan, no problem. But if we've got any headwind, it might work out better with perfect. Well, that's still good. That'll work. That still works. That dog will hunt. Titan, the king. The king of balls. I'm going to say, I'm like, what the hell's the problem here? That should work. Okay, 3/8, and I'm going to add on 10%, so that's going to be 4/2. That'll be 2 rings. And I'm going to lean into the wind. Hitting it perfect. Just getting my way over. So what I did there was on the front, we had tailwind. I think it was more like almost a pure side. So I was able to stay up by the red line. So I only put on like 5.5 topspin. I went from wherever I was at the red line because I was more in the middle of that fairway. And I put on enough topspin to get me on that rough patch so that the third bounce was clipping the rough. I took out the wind plus 10% and hit the shot, and it was over there. But here we had headwind, so I ran the rest of my topspin and then pulled back from that original spot to put myself where my bounces were in the same way so that I gave myself a gap to the red line. And most of you are like, yeah, dude, no shit. But some of you are like, okay, I see it. Maybe. If you're new. In the hole. In the hole. All right, now let's go back and play 9 if I have enough tokens. I don't even know if I think that might have been it. I may be out of practice tokens. What kind of shit's that? You guys I have 1 practice token left. You guys got bonus contact. Hole 9, par 5. Okay, we're going to switch back to that APOC. Or back to my big topper and my berserker. And see what kind of angle we have up there, because I swear it looked like they had a look. And I'm thinking if I am just a little short of having the look, if you've got an upper developed hammerhead, this would definitely be a hole to bring in. If your hammerhead's got more distance than the sniper, then it would definitely be worth bringing it. If we had a power 26 ball and we could get up here, And we could do a max overpower hook to get over to the other side, but with this power 4 and 5 ball shit. Let's see if my opponent can get up there. Perfect. El Prefecto. Just a little too far. 380s too far. So 375's got to be close. Bag number 3. Bring in the Zerk. If I remember correctly, it was like 5. There's 3, 4, 5. 5.5. That's 5.5 topspin. So 4-1. Be a slightly less than 2 rings, but I'm going to pull it just slightly over. Hitting it perfect. Now it's all about my topspin on whether or not I overshoot it. And I overshot it as well. That's funny. That's funny. And what I'm going to do is I'm not doing what my opponent's doing here. Now we'll be able to see where my opponent's at. So even with the Nirvana, you could get yourself up there in a pretty good recovery spot if you overhit. I'll see what my distance is with my Nirvana, but I'm gonna turn around and shoot it right behind where I was trying to hit, so that we can actually see what the angle is. So that was like 5.5 topspin, and I probably should have only used 5. So you can see where I could get. I have a pretty decent shot of getting myself in a good recovery area out here in front. Wouldn't be bad. But where I'm really trying to get is just right there. We can work on that topspin for the drive. But let's see if we can actually get this done with a sniper, or if it's too damn risky with a sniper. And we're getting the benefit of a little bit of tailwind. Almost due tailwind, so. The Thorn. It's the benefit of the Thorn is it's got so much ball guide, you can actually see it drawing back. Where most clubs, like a Saturn, if you put max backspin on there, or even your Guardian, you don't see the tail coming back towards the cup. You can see where it stops. But that Thorn's got that 4.5 or 4.4, 4.6. It's got really good ball guide. I think it's 4.5, somewhere in that neighborhood. Now here's where we need a bigger side spin ball. Now watch that second bounce. If you come over into this area trying to bring it to the cup, now there's no room to curl it, so you can't bring it over. Like even just a little teeny bit of curl. I'm going to aim right towards the top of that sand. And I need to put a little more topspin on it. I'm going to put it all on there and see what the hell happens. 4.2. There's 4.2. I'm going to do 4.6. Put some curl on it to bring it back to the cup. But not so much curl that that second bounce is clipping the rough. Right there. You can see how close I brought it with just that much curl. And max topspin there, if we were going against a headwind, I'd have to put a little bit of overpower on it. I didn't feel like my shot with my cat, like where I entered the red line up there, I didn't feel like I was getting that much of an advantage. Maybe I needed to pull it back a little bit. I'll have to go back and watch the video on it. But this hole right here, the deal is if you've got a cataclysm, you can get into the area where you can get an easy eagle. Even with I mean, I put myself in pretty much the same exact spot with that sniper. But I could have done a lot more with the Guardian to get myself closer to the cup. When you have holes like this, though, if you can work yourself, I would prefer to be on the fringe or just right off the fringe. Like these particular shots here are a little farther away where wind could play a factor. And I'd like to be a little closer, but this is one of those greens where you're coming to the green where you can end up in the wrong spot, or you can end up a long ways from the cup, or you can end up in the wrong spot on the green. And because we have very little control of what happens to us on the green, because it's at the end of the run, that if you can just put yourself like right off the green in front, that would be perfect. I'm definitely gonna play that hole with the bag that I had set up originally, where I have the big topper and a cataclysm. And at level 5, a level 9 big dog versus a level 5 cataclysm. At level 5, same distance, same accuracy, has a little bit less topspin. And in some cases, I found that topspin, I could have used that topspin, but in most cases, it's not that big of a deal. It's got a little teeny bit less backspin, same curl. But the ball guide is huge when we start talking about 3-2, where we're looking at the angle going up, versus 3-6, where we're getting to see what it looks like as it's coming down. You can get a much better read off of 3-6. And it's close enough that I'm going with the cat right now just to try and get used to it with the 3-6. But in 10 more cards, we'll see what it looks like when it's level 6. All right. That was the 5th anniversary 9-hole cup, kind of a practice round, scouting report, walkthrough. This tournament's a -12, and I see a ton of holes in this tournament that we can pick up. So we're going to have to work on a lot of these holes. Hole number 1, definitely, I think every hole until you get to hole number 9 is a serious opportunity to pick up a shot. I wasn't too excited about that last par 3. I'm going to have to work on that. I think there was 2 of the par 3s here I really kind of need to work on. But I think all of the holes, except for hole number 9, we have a serious opportunity for picking something up. We can work on it. So I will catch you in the qualifying rounds. I will qualify maybe a couple of my accounts this week and see what happens. Everybody be safe. Have a good week, and thanks for watching.